Here we go. Welcome to North Hudson Public Works Committee meeting of Tuesday, July 16th, 2019 at 5:30 p.m. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Chair Pike,
Here.
Trustee Head,
Here.
Trustee Matz,
Here.
Item number 2, approve the minutes from the June 18, 2019 Public Works meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from the June 18, 2019 Public Works meeting.
I second.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 3, comments from the floor, and we are vacant. Item number 4, Station Lane, Station Circle, North brush cutting in right-of-way, discussion and possible recommendation. So we have an issue statement on this. Now, I took a little trip with Patrick today around this area. As he says, vegetation right of ways and at intersections is getting overgrown, needs to be cut back. It's, you guys should take a little trip. You know where Cratley is, obviously,
Yep.
so you go straight, you go left. Instead of turning right on to Cratley, you go left, and just follow it around, and then there's a station circle in there. Follow that around right to Summers Landing, and you'll see that basically what's happening with people's yards is they're growing, starting to grow over the street because the brush is growing up, and I don't know if it's buckthorn, but a lot of it looks that way. But Patrick has some suggestions about how to do it, and I will turn it to him.
So, I'm actually meeting with someone tomorrow to get some type of what it's gonna cost or whatever, do some brush cutting. It'll probably be with a tractor with the arm mower on it.
Okay.
We have had corrections there. The
Department of.
Department of Corrections have been down there, and we had issues with that a couple of years ago. Some residents got very upset. So I guess that wouldn't be an option because I don't feel the need to upset
Sure.
either party, you know, so it made everyone uncomfortable. So that would be the only other option, would be the tractor with the arm mower on it. And I would suggest that maybe in this case, I know they have a homeowners association down there. I'd gotten, I think, a contact from Melissa, the administrator. We maybe want to, maybe I'll put this on next month's agenda as well, once I get a price for everyone. And then if that's the way we want to go, at least inform them that this is pretty much the only option, this is what we're going to do, blah, 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 I guess, as a courtesy, just to let the
Maybe.
homeowners group.
Maybe the homeowners will pay for it since it's their association and they're not maintaining.
Actually,
Their properties.
each street, each address is responsible for their property, if I remember correctly.
Well, they are, that's kind of a fine line there. I mean, there are right-of-ways that we do maintain, so I guess I just kind of,
So the question is this a right-of-way that it's our responsibility? But I thought right-of-ways, like up and down 35 here, aren't they supposed to be being maintained by
well, grass.
just grass?
Yeah,
We
you
make
know,
a
as far
difference
as
here.
trees, you know, if trees are in the right of way, there are trees. So, and this is brush, so it's probably a little different situation.
Can we-
I think what we should do is, maybe you want to do that, just reach out, I'll give you the contact information, reach out to the homeowners group and maybe talk to them a little bit and just tell them.
That'd be Melissa.
Okay, well, somebody can reach out to them and say, this is what we're gonna do, and then I'll bring this back, I'll put it on next month's agenda as well.
I think Melissa needs to take a look
Pricing.
for sure at the ordinance, make sure brush isn't covered in the
Okay,
taken care of. Because in years past, I was told to take brush out
okay,
on my property, so I just don't know what the ordinance says.
okay, we'll,
Mary, if you're watching, my phone's in the car, you can't text me. Anyway, yeah, let's find out what the ordinance says, if they're responsible for keeping the right-of-way clear whether it's brush or grass.
Okay, I'll look up the ordinance and then I'll just get all that for you guys next month.
But when we were talking, I brought the same thing to him. I said, well, there is an association here. Maybe the association would be concerned enough about Station Circle being able to actually pass down the road without hitting brush all the way down it, because if it keeps going, it's
Right.
gonna look like
Right.
an umbrella right over the street. So,
Okay.
And there is I do have there's a sheet here from St. Croix County.
yeah, it's in our packet.
Yep, that's, there's the two different types of mowers there. One of them is gonna be $2,000 a day and one's gonna be $4,500 a day. I'll just have to figure out how many days it's gonna take to do that, or they will. Like I said, I'm gonna meet with someone from St. Croix County tomorrow.
Okay. And when you do, you'll get an estimate of, based on what they're seeing, how long they think, how many days they
Yep.
think. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Good work. And this is a result of, just so you know, I think Patrick told me an email received.
Yeah, I got an email from a concerned resident that was having trouble seeing around a corner and whatever. And I mean, we can take care of some of the small stuff, but if you guys drive down there, you'll see that it's pretty. I think it's a little bigger job than we can handle.
It's a big job.
Okay.
It's pretty overgrown. So
So really, if you get a chance, take a cruise down.
Okay. We'll do it.
And see what you think. And it's not like we don't have other areas, more than likely, in the village, but this is a kind of a large section of road, which is not, it's definitely not a 4th Street sized road, it's a smaller. And it just seems like it'd be hard for 2 cars to get down it before long if the brush keeps going inwards. Okay, any other discussion? Any other comments, Patrick?
nope.
All right. On to item 5, Galahad Road North drainage issues, discussion only. I think we left this on here for Kevin to give us updates on any movement.
So I reached out to Gary last week, just had some discussions with him and just to see where he's at with it. I know the owner has approached him. He would like to do something down there. He does have a proposal to do a bunch of other things. Gary does to the current owner down there, and he's gonna try to work this into the work that he wants to do. One thing that he did bring up, because I know you guys were looking at maybe trying to enlarge it.
Just that one.
Yeah, the one.
Right.
He did mention that there are areas in there that still has contaminated soils underneath it. So that might limit to how much material we can actually take out of there. He thinks would be comfortable around a half a foot to a foot, but it's probably not going to be anything more than that. Because otherwise you're going to start maybe having some issues with DNR, and because that site's been closed up. But I mean, at a minimum, we'd be able to go in there and kind of scarify or take off that top layer and try to work the soil up to try to get it so it kind of infiltrates into the ground. But trying to do anything major for an enlargement is probably going to be a no, just because of the soils that we have down in that area.
I guess that surprises me. I thought the DNR did a remediation of the soil issues down there.
Yeah, so they took out some of the soils, and then went into that, that big area where the building burnt down, where the
Right,
concrete slab
right.
is.
And then they fluffed it.
Yeah. But he's telling me that there's still some areas down there that has contaminated soils underneath it.
And the DNR is okay with that.
Apparently so.
But what is he basing the assessment that there's contaminated soil on? Is it prior testing?
Yeah, they did a bunch of soil
Okay.
testing down in that area. I'm going by what he's telling me, so that's what he had brought up to me last
Do we have
week.
access to those records?
That's all public records.
Are you able to, do you know how to get, okay.
Yep.
So can you verify that particular area?
Yep.
And I guess, I don't know, I have a little bit of a concern about contaminated soil being down there and then water running through it to start with. I'm surprised the DNR isn't worried about
Yeah.
that.
Well, when it floods, does it carry away some of that contaminated soil or
No,
not?
It's capped.
Yeah,
It's capped, okay.
yeah.
What do you mean by capped?
It's got clean soil holding it down in place and not
Oh.
going anywhere.
Yeah.
Is that-
So, yeah, I
Is that normal, just to cap
So, a
contamination?
lot of times I do see that done. You know, they'll try to put gravel over the top or asphalt to try to keep it so it's an impervious area over it.
So there's not runoff.
Right. Yep. So I've seen that commonly done in different areas.
But when,
Same thing out of the-
when it's not, well, I mean, even if it's capped, water's still gonna run down through the contaminated soil, isn't it?
He says there's some spots that are clean and some that's still got some,
The paths the water go, I've been doing that for 50 years
Really?
or longer. How long did I hold the shop yards?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's all from previous, you know, with the railroad.
Way back to the
activities that
railroad
happened.
days, yeah, when they weren't really concerned about it, I
Nope.
get it.
Nope.
Okay.
So that's kind of where it's at. I'll keep touching base with him and.
Yeah, well, and also check, you know, if you can get access to the specific area where we want that pond, where we were kind of promised a pond.
Yep.
That seems to be a more problematic area, and partly because we did the big berm
Yes.
of the previously contaminated soil. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Kevin, when they did that berm with the contaminated soil that they had fluffed, did they cap that berm with good soil?
You know, I don't know if that's got clean soil or if that's actually contaminated soil.
I thought it
where
was-
that berm is.
I thought they used the big pile to do that berm, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that I would have to check into.
Well, next time you're chatting with Gary, it'd be I'm just curious. It's just a curiosity
Yep.
question, sorry.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, not sure people down there would think so.
Yeah, it depends on which side the berm you're on.
Yes.
And contaminated means a lot of different things. Sometimes contaminated means there's chunks of concrete in it, which aren't gonna hurt anybody. And sometimes contaminated means 3M dumped a bunch of barrels in there.
Oh, so
So-
contaminated is that broad of a
Yes, I
definition.
mean,
There's
right?
a
I
lot
mean,
of different, I
yeah.
mean, some areas are, yeah,
Contaminated doesn't mean it's
Worse than the
poisonous. It just could be,
different levels.
yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
okay. All right, well,
and there
thanks
could
for
be
that.
some creosote logs buried in there from the old railroad. I mean, you just don't know what's in there. That's why they say it's contaminated, and you just
Right.
cap it and you walk away.
Okay.
Yep.
And the railroad did run right up to that whole thing, right? The actual ties and, I mean, railroad.
Right through it.
Tracks, right through it? That
Oh,
was
yeah.
the depot, right?
Yep, there used to be a big turntable down there too.
Really?
The locomotives would come in and they rotate and then bring them into different buildings and stuff, so,
Huh, cool.
yeah,
The roundhouse.
All right, so you'll keep us informed as you,
yeah.
all right, any other discussion, thoughts? Okay, item number 6 is chair update. And I don't really have a whole lot there, just to, for those of you watching and are aware of our Ferry Landing weekend closures, just know that the board is working on it as quickly as they can to resolve the issues down there. Item number 7, engineers report.
Okay, there's a couple things, I do, the soil borings, Highway 35, they were done beginning of June.
All
So-
good?
Yeah, everything came back good.
Really?
Yeah,
Even in front of the old gas station and,
yeah, there was nothing that came up
Good.
as a hit or anything, but
Love it.
couple areas, you know, the material was a little bit harder, just based on the blow counts per foot. There was one area, it was a little wet. That was in between, Summers and Michelson Street, about 10 feet down. They noted it was wet, there was water that was encountered. Other than that,
is that the west side or the east side?
that was on the east side.
Huh.
So, other than that, everything else, there was nothing for water encountered. It's about 5 to 7 inches of asphalt with about 1 to 2 feet of gravel underneath the road right now on top of sand. And everything down below is all sand with some cobble.
So it drains really nice.
So these will all be, included as part of the bid package that'll go out. So contractors truly know what they're up against.
Does that sound like they're up against more than they would have
No.
expected? Okay,
No.
yeah.
Good.
It's all good stuff, yeah.
7 feet,
So, yeah, no surprises there. The other thing is I reached out to the county and, the traffic counters on Wisconsin Street. I'm kind of getting geared up for that project, and they're gonna get out there in the next couple of weeks and install the traffic counter. And that'll be for 72 hours that'll run. So you'll see a cord that goes across the street.
across 35,
Across Wisconsin Street.
across Wisconsin, and remind me again.
So basically that's at STP,
And we're setting a baseline?
yeah,
Okay,
for traffic. Cause you forecast 20 years out, that'll be used for like the pavement design analysis.
now, are they aware of the 2021 project where the obvious traffic, of course, we're not doing it until 2022, right?
2022.
Okay, never mind.
Yep, so the
Okay.
following year, so,
So traffic patterns would be back to normal by
Mhm.
then, okay.
yep. So they'll run that for 72 hours and then take it out, but just so you're aware.
Is
That's,
that anything we've gotta, I don't suppose we need to say anything about that. I mean, people are used to seeing those lines go across the road.
I would, yeah.
yeah.
So just be careful when we're sweeping.
Does it, I mean, they don't put a sign or anything up, they just,
No, you just drive over, yeah.
okay,
It's commonly done, so.
okay.
So the more we drive over it, the better rope we get.
Yeah, right.
The scenic route.
Strategy.
And our new four-wheelers.
So other than that, that's all I have
Okay.
for this month.
Any other questions for our engineer?
Huzzah for having fun at a meeting.
All right, item number 8, director's report.
So the flex ceiling project began, I think it's just about done, actually. They were out this past week and started on that. Just so you know, those guys, I really like those guys, the crew. It's a bunch of young guys. They all hustle and they do a really nice job. I know that's probably not the top priority on your list, but if you ever get a chance to look in there or whatever, they do a nice job.
Good.
So we should hurry up and hire them for the rest before they get old?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they're a good bunch of guys.
And you left some of the money sitting for,
Yep. For this fall, if, because it seemed like last year we had some that we'd have a big rain or something and something would wash out, so instead of creating an emergency, I left some for seed.
okay.
Yeah.
And how many did they get done, do you know?
They were going to do 11, I think.
Okay.
But it just depended. There was a couple of them that needed a little bit more work that were on Summers.
Okay,
And it was in an area where we use more salt because it's a
Sure.
curve and the stop sign and stuff.
Yep.
So of course they take more abuse, but
makes sense.
so those two might have taken a little more than the normal ones. So
Right.
I'll
Yeah, we get an average quote per,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yep. And the cutting out and patching of the streets they were here and gone, I think. Took them a day to do that. So all of those are complete. We started hydrant flushing. I haven't, Joe was off today. I was gonna ask him, but I'm thinking we're probably about 20% done with that. Got a good start on them. I started actually painting curbs last week, and the line painting will kind of get put on hold here for a day or so. But we will finish up with that. Kind of a park board issue, but I thought I would say it anyways. We put up a memorial bench in Summers Landing Park. That's all complete now. Poured a slab. Got a bench, an engraved bench, so looks pretty good. And I also wanted to say that I did talk to Gary about trying to get some numbers together so that we can budget for that Galahad Road project next year. And then I talked to General Repair today, and it sounds like almost all the parts and stuff are here for East Bank lift station. So
Really?
that should be, hopefully will be soon when we get that taken care of.
To get it actually started.
Yeah.
Are we doing a bypass this time? No need? Okay,
There isn't enough flow there.
okay.
We'll just do like we did down on Riverside. They'll clean it out, the truck will suck it out, and then they'll put a ball in the pipe that comes from the main, and then we'll just pop a manhole lid off, and the truck will stay there and keep pumping as needed.
Okay.
So, but other than that, that is all that I have.
It just occurs to me, since you're having, is it the county that's coming up to look at the brush cutting?
Mhm.
Any chance we could have them look at the section of Galahad that we're looking at for next year? Just to get an idea what they think?
Yeah, we could,
Couldn't
but
that thing do this?
I wouldn't advise doing that type of thing down there just because of the debris, and there's stuff in there, there's hydrants, there's whatever, and there's fencing in part of it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know that we wanna do that.
We'd have to mark stuff. But
Wow.
couldn't they get it a little ways? I mean, make it,
They could, yeah. I mean, I can always, all I can do is ask, and if he'll either say yes or no.
yeah, they might not do it because of the
Mhm.
hazard side of it, because
Yep.
of things they can't see.
Yep.
I
No,
don't-
certainly, yeah, I'll ask him.
We're gonna put a budget together, I thought maybe,
Sure.
otherwise you're thinking pretty much hand-to-hand combat on that ditch?
Well, no, I mean, I want to work with Gary. I mean, I think if he's going to have to bring a backhoe in there so that we,
Oh.
you know, clean out the ditch.
Yeah.
Make everything so that everything drains. We'll do the whole thing
Okay,
as a project. So it would, I don't know that the brush cutting would do us much good because some of it's going to get shaved off and dug up, and if he's got a backhoe there, we can pull stumps and
As needed.
clean it all up, and
So-
then it would be done.
he would do it all, yeah, I mean, because of how ugly it looks. I mean, I'm thinking about the brush side of the thing
Yeah,
too.
well, I think a lot of that would be gone.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I talked to him to get just kind of a bid, but I think we could probably work with him, do some help. I mean, we have our Bobcat, we have a couple trucks, we could help
Okay,
with that stuff to try to lessen the cost of things.
okay. Any other questions for Patrick?
Nope, doing a good job.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, Patrick.
All right, item number 9, Public Works Capital Equipment Planning, discussion only. We usually start budgeting July, August. Our committee tries to get going in July. I think the actual paperwork's coming out in August, where Melissa will give us an idea what we're working with, and
It'll
But-
be coming real soon.
we're trying to follow what the chief does on public safety, which is talk about it all year long, because there's things that come up as we go, and then we forget about them. So that's what this number 9 is all about.
This list, yep.
So Patrick, you got anything for us on?
You guys should have a list.
Yep.
And then I've added some stuff to it, some things that I forgot, and I'm sure there'll maybe be more to come, or add or delete or whatever. The East Bank lift station rehab, obviously, we're doing part of that, but I would also like to budget for a new control panel, because that was something that we haven't done. We just were worried about the pumps and everything else, so I'd like to budget for that. The metal detector locators, we use those to locate curb stops and stuff. We used to have 2, now we only have 1. I just think for the ease and efficiency of us, it would be nice that each truck would have one, because we all do the locates instead of calling and, hey, do you got the locator, or do you know what I mean? It just, one of those things. I also not necessarily a big priority, but the dump box for the F-550 is getting to be in pretty bad shape. It's steel. It's rusting out pretty bad. That's not a high priority item, but it's just something to think about. Also, I would put in there a plow, a straight plow. We have V plows on the pickups now, but we should have a bigger straight plow on the 550. The zero-turn lawnmower, we bought the new lawnmower when we sold the truck, so now we have two. The zero-turn is getting to be, we're doing a few repairs to it and stuff, and I think it's time to, as long as it's maybe still worth something, we'll get rid of it, buy a new one, upgrade. I also have in here the salt sand box, the spreader that we could put in and out of the 550, and then that way when we're plowing, we would have two vehicles that could salt and sand. We found out in the ice storm last year that the Mack does not work that great trying to get up some of the hills. And then I would also like to budget for a new line painter for painting curbs, parking spots, crosswalks, what have you. The one that we have, I did some investigating today because a part broke on it. I can't get parts for it anymore. It's probably over 30 years old. We bought it used from another municipality. It doesn't owe us anything.
That was a good investment.
Yeah.
You got your
so-
money's worth.
And the new ones, I've done a little bit of investigating. If we stick with the same brand, which is a Graco, we'll probably get 20, 25 years out of a new one too. So they are still decent machines. I also put in there the rental of a loader with a snowplow for the winter. I'm trying to get some prices on that. I'm having, I don't think we need a great big loader, I guess, but I'm trying to get a smaller one. And there are quite a few other uses. They make a big, like a 12-foot sweeper, a box broom for that. There's plenty of stuff that we could do with that. And we need the auto dialers for the East Bank and Riverside lift stations. That's kind of a must. I put tires in there for a few things.
What are those auto dialers? I'm just curious.
It's the
Just the
it
alarms?
calls you. Yeah, it calls our phone like when the power goes out.
Okay.
High level, low level,
Okay.
things like that.
Yep. Got it.
Yep. We do need a new trailer, single axle trailer. The air compressor sandblaster, that's kind of a wishing thing. I also have a valve turner for our valve exercise operations that we have to do. Another thing to think about as we take the rest of our land down there is maybe think about putting up another shed, storage of things. I had added on there, as far as I'm looking into finding a portable generator for running our lift stations when the power goes out. The other night we had kind of an issue.
Like a trailered one, like a big one?
Yeah. Yep. And then on that note, I would also like to put in the budget that each one has it's an outside receptacle where the generator plugs in. We have the 4 lift stations, and I believe they all have 4 different style plugs on them. I'd like to get them all rewired so they're the same, so we have one cord and we're not fumbling around in the middle of the night, dark or in snow or whatever.
I feel like some of this stuff you should just do. Like a valve turner, how much is that?
Well, it has to be budgeted.
Yeah.
I know, but
Okay.
some of that stuff's got to be expense worthy.
Donate it.
So here's, are you done?
I had 3 more things. I would like to exchange the Bobcat this year, again, after a year, to get the next size up. When we exchanged it this year, obviously we'd put a lot of miles on it, so we kind of spent the budget. So I was going to try to upsize a little bit to the next size machine, so it's just something I'll put it out there and you guys can decide. We also need a new gas monitor for our confined space, and I would like to purchase the harness and retrieval equipment for when we have to go into confined spaces.
Okay, couple things. It would help me if we could get this maybe in a table. And I would add at least two more columns, you know, your description over here, and then two more columns. One that has letter C or E for capital or expense. And, you know, working with Nathan based on the amount of money. I don't know what our capital number is. In the computer world, it was anything over $5,000, I think it was.
That's what ours is too.
Is
on
yours
the-
too, yeah.
Yep,
Is
on the
capital.
facility side.
Yep.
Anything under that is an expense, so that makes a difference where these land in your budget, and it'll help with that. And then the other column would just be Public Works versus Parks. Like,
Sure.
you've got a mower in here, that's obviously Parks. And
No, it'll come out of Public Works,
it would? Why?
because that's how it's been done, and nothing got changed with that, so
Oh,
it'll
Why
come
was
out of Public Works.
I was asked by the chair of Parks about a new mower, and I said, "Oh, Dr. Patrick." But I wasn't inferring that it should necessarily be
Yeah.
on ours. I mean, the bulk of the use of the mower, is it not for Parks?
Yeah, mostly. I mean, we have a lot of right-of-ways and stuff that we cut too, so.
Okay,
No,
well,
I mean, it's not all, but yeah, we can discuss that later.
yeah, I, for some reason, I always thought that landed on Parks. I didn't know.
No, everything comes.
So they're gonna
under
take
the
money
same.
out of our budget to buy the same mower out of their budget? Who
Well,
knows?
basically, it's just a budgeting thing. It's where things are supposed to be. You've done budgets. Don't tell me you haven't.
I know.
I know you have too. I'm kind of picky about things being in the right place on a budget for, you know, clarity and for future boards, so they know what the heck's going on.
That makes sense.
Okay,
Well, this was just kind of a list. I know
Yeah,
you guys
it's-
wanted a list.
but it's
and
really
I'll-
good.
I'll put, I'll get working with Nathan. I'm pretty sure the budgeting, our packets and stuff, Nathan, I think, is working on them right now. So I'll start working with him more, and I'll put together some more detailed stuff.
there's one other thing
Thank you, Patrick.
for our perspective, from, you know, which isn't exactly going to fit yours. It'd be nice to have a priority number on how you would, on the cap items, how you would prioritize the cap items. I
Okay.
want this first, this second, and then you go down to your wish list
Yep.
items, and same on the expense side.
Okay.
So we know what you would really want us as board members to push for at the budget cycle.
Okay.
Do you want them 1 through 100, or do you want them tiered? Like, here's tier ones, here's the things I really need next year, here's the things that are gonna be really helpful next year, and these are wish list items.
Or things that could wait, you know,
Right.
if need be. I like the tiered idea.
Yeah, I do too. That's a good idea. If there's return on investment on any of these, like you buy this and it's gonna save us that much money in the same calendar year,
That's huge.
That's huge.
And I like your idea. If I can have 100 things on here, I'm gonna go with that.
All right, with that note.
Hey, I'm just curious. I'm brainstorming, but your
Oh, I
storage
like the way,
building,
I like the way you think.
your storage building, isn't Pepperfest gonna build a building? Are
Yes.
we going to have some
think so,
access to
yep,
that?
yep.
I mean, can we, instead of building one there, we can use this one for a year? or
Yeah,
two?
I'm not.
Oh, wait a
sure.
minute. I still think he has plenty of room where he's at. Him and I have a little disagreement about that.
Okay.
Because we bought our own Public Works buildings, and the question is what's in this one shed? Could it fit in our Public Works buildings over there? But it would mean he'd have to shift some things around, and maybe not make things as easy or as accessible. So
Well,
that's
and
a
then if-
discussion we need to have. Eventually, when we come to budget time, I'm assuming that at least the four of us will be sitting down and saying, here's what we gotta
I
have,
would think.
you know?
Yep.
So that's when we'll get into those
Okay.
more off camera.
Well, I will maybe,
Just put it as a tier 1 storage building.
all right. Good enough.
You're just a troublemaker tonight. You are still wound up from that last public safety meeting. All right, item number 10, Public Works Committee future goals, agenda items. Anybody got future agenda items or future goals we should be working on? It's the kind of thing you gotta really think about.
I know,
We get some just from these meetings that pop.
right?
Do we have a running list of future agenda items? No?
I don't know that I've ever gotten one, so
Yeah, we'd have to go back to the minutes, go minute by minute.
kind of,
Maybe you could put somebody on that.
well, I could, but I think I have to get some ideas first, right?
I think they're in our minutes. As we go through meetings, we say, oh, we should remember to do that, future agenda items, so to speak. I'm just wondering how many drop off because they didn't make the next agenda.
Oh,
So if Jessica would be willing to go back
Sure.
through those minutes and see if there are things that we thought we should consider and just can't remember because they don't pop each month. I try, like, obviously, we're keeping the Galahad Road thing on here, and you know how I've done that from time to time. I keep the thing on there till I'm satisfied. I guess this doesn't really fit in that spot, so. All right, we don't have any?
No, other than what we mentioned tonight with contacting this homeowners association
Yeah.
to see what their,
What they're thinking about their own streets?
yes, and
I'm
where,
okay.
where the responsibility lies.
Yeah.
Is it on the
Well,
village or with them?
And that, I think Melissa can solve by ordinance.
Flex ceiling, the rest of all of the,
Yeah. Oh, and as a budget item, yeah, we missed that. We wanted to do more flex sealing faster because of the total number of, that you guys mentioned to us. You had them written down on a folder or something? How many out there?
320.
yeah.
A lot.
320? That's a lot. How many have we gotten down? About a little under 100?
Yeah.
Okay. So still 200.
I'll make myself a note here. I'll put together a map of all the ones that we've done.
Great.
I would love that visual. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great.
Even if we did a 3-year and we can guarantee them 3 years worth of work and we could hold them to a price for 3 years instead of a escalated price, doing it year over year.
That's kind of in the back of my head, too.
Well, I'll be honest with you, it's a pretty good price. I mean, I know, I
No,
I
and
get
that's
it,
fine.
it went up, but I did the other investigating and there was quite a
Yeah,
big
that spray.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we said, this
Yeah.
is our plan and showed them for
Yeah.
the next 3 years, we're gonna
You-
keep you busy.
Yeah.
Can you give us a rate at that,
Sure.
with that plan in mind?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Realizing we only have so many dollars per year we can spend, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, do we want to put, Kevin and I talked about, do we want to put on our, what do we call that? Our
The,
drainage ponds,
oh, yeah, the maintenance of them,
maintenance of our drainage ponds?
You mean
I
the
think I'll
scum that
clean 'em.
grows over the top?
No,
cleaning them with.
vegetation,
Oh, veg?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. What about, do we have, you know, Kevin, how we talked about how that so-called pond had this crust over it?
Mhm.
Do we have other ponds that is a problem with in the village?
Usually those ponds are held on private property and you don't really
Yeah.
know.
Is it anything we have to address or be concerned about? But given the rain that we've, it's crossed my mind.
Yeah, sometimes you'll get like sediment buildup,
Right,
like it's your outfalls,
yeah.
where that stuff gets into your storm sewer pipe and then ultimately ends up into the pond. Seen that happen before. Vegetation over time grows up.
Do other municipalities have a strategic plan how they deal with that, or is it,
It's kind of case on case
okay,
basis, so,
okay,
yeah. I can't think of any other ones
okay.
where we've had any big issues with offhand. But
Okay. Anything else?
I got nothing.
All right, that brings us to item number 11. We are adjourned at 6:10 PM. Thank you.